What's up, everybody? Welcome to the CanesInSight Daily Podcast powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. A lot to talk about. Sorry for some of the delays here. There's a worldwide outage apparently on Cloudflare. Twitter's down. CanesInsight.com is down temporarily. So we're working through a couple things. Should be done probably by the time you listen to this, but figured let everybody know why we're a little late. We got Aman Richards on the show. Plenty to get into here with Canes football. First, I want to talk about some folks that they're never taking a break. That's Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. If you or someone you care about has been injured in an accident, you could be entitled to significant compensation. Dial 1-800-747-FREE, 1-800-747-3733. Take back control of your life with Anajar and Levine. Pete, hop in.
You know, D, I got to say, some people are never happy, man. This is life, but we get complaints about being late. My brothers and sisters, we also get complaints when you don't get notifications. If we don't set the stream at a certain time, you will not get alerted of the stream. If we just go live, we'll say, hey, I didn't get a notification. So again, appreciate your patience, but everyone needs to calm down a little bit this morning.
Well, you know, Pete, we could actually just give them the notification and actually show up on time. So I think I'm the number one culprit.
We can give them the notification, and if we don't, you know how we are though. Listen, people, you gotta calm down a little bit, and you're still here.
I'll raise my hand.
1MG, you're still here. 1MG.
1MG is our boy. When I was in eighth grade, we had superlatives, you know, and it was like best looking, most athletic, most intelligent. You know, the Epiphany Kings. We had a bunch of superlatives for our class, and they gave me most likely to be late for his own wedding. So I didn't get a good one. I just got most likely to be late. So. I've been doing this for a minute.
Sounds about right.
But anyways, guys, appreciate all you guys joining us. And again, apologies for the outage. We got Aman Richards here in a little bit. But Pete, before we get into any of this, I want to talk about Miami's new quarterback. No, not Carson Beck sitting on the bench. Carson Beck's gonna be there. He's playing at a high level. Some of the best football he's played all year. But Malachi Toney, man, that was a very interesting quote from Shannon Dawson at his press conference yesterday, which was an outstanding press conference, you know, top to bottom, a lot of good info there. But he was talking about the play where Malachi Toney hit JoJo Trader. And it was very interesting, not just talking about the throw, but on some of the reads. So let's get into this here. By the way, I got YouTube Premium, so we're in business there. But let's get to this. Hold on a second. Let's pull this up here. Hopefully no commercials, so no one yells at me. But I think we're in good shape. So here we go. Shannon Dawson talking about Malachi Toney throwing the football. I screwed up again, didn't I?
No audio. Yeah, no audio.
This is literally the third. I got the ads taken care of. I bought the YouTube Premium, but now I'm still just not sharing the audio. It's a learning process, you know. I think by the time that we're defending our 10th championship here, I'll have this right. By the way, shout out. Look what we got in the chat. We got your boy Stoney. We got a lot of folks up in here, but we'll get this right. Gary Furman live at the MGM Grand Casino says Charlie Chaplin, little silent film starring Shannon Dawson. JR Barr says it's like showing my grandpa how to use a DVD player in the 1990s. That's pretty much how it is. All right. So Pete, watch this. I'm going to take it from the top so you can get your clickbait perfect and clean when we put it out as a segment. So here we go. Miami might have a new quarterback, Carson Beck, not going anywhere, still throwing the ball at a high level. But Shannon Dawson had some very interesting comments about Malachi Toney and his reads at his press conference here yesterday. So let's take a listen with sound on and clear.
To not take reps in the system for all year and to start taking reps in camp and have that stuff flow like it does, because communication is extremely important. And
I loaded the wrong clip. How about that? How many errors do you think we can hit in the first 5 minutes in, Pete? I think Honey hasn't barked yet, so Honey's doing her job. We're not doing our job here on the CanesInSight podcast. All right, here we go.
Honey's barking right now, that's why I'm muted.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Honey. All right, here we go. Without further ado, let's listen to Shannon Dawson talk about a new quarterback for the Miami Hurricanes, right? Not Carson Beck. He's rolling. He's playing at a high level. But Malachi Toney. Take 5.
About that is that wasn't the first read. Like the post was the first read. So a guy that isn't playing quarterback, a lot of times you just give him a 1 and none. Like you throw it here or like make it work. But with him, he's a little different. So I'll put like progressions in his deal. And so the post, they must have anticipated something coming because they played coverage and they covered the post. And then JoJo came open and he ripped it to him. And that's like, it was a seed. That's everybody in the quarterback room will admit. The bigger thing with him, though, it's like he doesn't have to warm up. He just gets out there and grabs the ball and throws it. I mean, I can't quite explain it, but it is what it is.
There you have it. Malachi Toney, new quarterback for Miami. That's amazing that it has the ability to go through his progressions there. I was going to let this say this shows like the first half offense versus Stanford. Yeah, a lot of pre-snap penalties here. But amazing to have a skill position player. You can give them the ball. Obviously, they have the run option, but they can make reads and go through progressions and give you so much more of the offense, or at least options on a play like that than an average skill position guy. So my question to you, Pete, do you think we could see more Malachi Toney playing quarterback?
I think the fans have an idea of him, being the full-time quarterback next year, which I've seen thrown out there. I don't think that's something that's realistic. Unfortunately, we saw the good and we saw the bad. We saw he had a little pressure in his face on the second attempt and kind of, got a little nervous there and overthrew Pringle. I think though you should see some sort of package will take where he's getting 5 to 7 snaps a game at that spot though. I think that can be realistic. I think you can add that as a very baked in part of your offense. We'll see how much of it more we see here moving forward the rest of the season. But as long as Malachi Toney is at the University of Miami next year, I think that you'll see him in that role a good amount, just not as a full-time QB as some have suggested.
All right, so we get Aman ready to get him in here. I compare it to like a Tim Tebow, and Tim Tebow was totally different body type. Obviously, he was a fullback body type, 240 plus pounds, running in short yardage and doing those things. But I think when you look at Tim Tebow as a freshman, his workload got more and more. And I think the reason why was because he was an actual quarterback. So he could make reads that you wouldn't ask a fullback to make. Maybe there's a fullback that has a good arm and you could run a trick play here and there, but they're not going to be actually making decisions. Whereas Tebow was a decision maker. As you saw, he became a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. So with Toney, he can run, he can do all those things. He can get the numbers messed up, but he can also make decisions on the fly under pressure without, how many times you've seen wide receivers when it's not there, just bombing and get intercepted. He has the decision-making ability. So I think a guy like that can get more and more on his plate as we bring in Miami's all-time leading freshman receiver, Aman Richards. So Aman, you get your mic. There you go. I saw you enjoying that yogurt right there. You were chowing. I was going to bring you in, but you look so happy eating that yogurt. I didn't want to mess with it.
Man, I don't know what this is right here, but yeah, munching crazy. But how we doing?
Let's get that sponsor, Aman. You gotta figure out who it is.
Yeah, I got it. What is it? Says Friendly Farms.
Hey, don't say it. Don't give him publicity just yet.
I'm gonna DM him.
Friendly Farms. We gotta figure it out.
So, Aman, I know you're tied into social media at all times, and you know what's going. You got your finger on the pulse with the Canes. So, one of the hot topics, Dawson's press conference yesterday, he talked about how Malachi Toney, his throw to JoJo Trader, that was really his second read, right? And he had multiple reads baked into his trick play, which for most skill position guys, they don't have that kind of freedom. But him being a former quarterback, they gave him the freedom. So, what we were talking about, I want to get your thoughts on is, listen, he's not Tebow. He's a different body, obviously, but could he have that kind of role going forward where like, it's not just 1 or 2 plays. Maybe it's like, 5 plays or more where he's getting the ball in his hands, making decisions.
I mean, probably I can say this. He definitely got more reads than I ever had. Because, hey, Coach Rick, we had a trick play in practice, and it was just, hey, get the ball, and if it's not there, just run or throw it away. Do not throw it elsewhere. It was like a reverse pass. We actually ended up doing it versus Virginia Tech when Malik caught that pass, except Braxton threw it because I think I threw a bad pass. They took it out of my hands. So, but realistically though, it would not surprise me as the season go on to add something like that where he actually maybe drops back and actually, make nothing crazy, not maybe a crazy concept, but just, every time he's at quarterback, right? So far we have ran quarterback like power or counter. We obviously added in the wrinkle where we threw the pass. He missed it to the running back, but it wouldn't surprise me if we actually drop back and, have maybe some sort of pop pass in a red zone, right? Something like that. But yeah, I mean, the kid can play, man. I mean, I think they said he played quarterback in youth league, so that's probably where it comes from. Just having that feel for the game and just accuracy and just, I feel like he has very good touch for a receiver throwing the ball. Like that pass to Malachi, like I haven't even seen some quarterbacks make that throw. Like legit, that was a laser. That was on the money. He didn't even break stride. A nice soft pass. I mean, what can the kid? I mean, maybe put him in a field goal. I think he'd do everything. But yeah, I think we'll see some wrinkles going forward, and especially into next year, just as he gets older, right, a little bit more mature, just in the college football aspect. He's a real weapon, man. He's like DJ Dallas, but like on a whole nother level. Just can do a lot of different things and give you a lot of different looks.
Yeah, we're watching right here some highlights from when he was at American Heritage. So Dia Bell, who's #1 quarterback or top 5 quarterback in the country this year, he got hurt last year. So Mally took over at quarterback. Like you mentioned, he was a youth quarterback, and they actually played better on offense when he took over at QB. And you see him running and juking and all that. I saw him in the state championship game against Darion Coleman, who's the Miami quarterback commit this year, and he wasn't running at all. He was like 16 for 16 passing. He was just straight up dropping back and tearing him up. So, yeah. I mean, he's a real quarterback. Not the biggest guy, but he's a real quarterback. He passes. Yeah. Look at this right here.
Yeah, look at it. Like, bro, that's like touch. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, he's not Josh Allen or anything, but he can get the ball to the receiver in a friendly spot. Like, that's what I like most. He's not throwing just the ball into like an area, right? Like, you can see he's actually like, he has really good touch. So, hey, that's another weapon we can use. Especially next year. And also it's just another wrinkle that opposing defensive coordinators have to acknowledge and they have to game plan for. Because what happens is you go in, right? You're going to have about 2 to 3 players on the screen, right? They're going to have like the key player on the offense, right? Usually it's like the quarterback or running back in the day when, running backs were like that, the guy usually. And then on defense, you're going to have like, your Derwin James or, the guy to always keep an eye out for, right? That's like part of the scouting report. I guarantee you Malachi's on everybody's scouting report just because it's like, yo, this kid can throw the football. He gets open in the slot. They're moving him around. Like, we have to account for him at all times. That's what I like about what we're seeing now and how Mally's developing into like this guy that's very reliable, like, he's so consistent, and I'm not even going to jinx him. He's just very consistent, and he's always like, he shows up every game. Just put it like that. He shows up every game. So that's someone DCs have to acknowledge and respect because week in, week out, like, he's going to make plays.
By the way, Pete's handling his honey issue right there. We got a dog running wild, man. The most popular dog on the CanesInSight podcast. He's shaking his head. People love Honey, man. She's a star of the show. She's probably the most popular guest besides Aman. So it's all good.
Hey, if these cats I have were a little bit heavier, you'll hear them rumbling outside the door right now, fighting each other.
Oh yeah, how many you got?
Can't hear them.
How many cats you got?
2 of them, man. One we got like from the store, and then one we rescued. We're like walking around and we seen it just by itself, little baby. Probably it was like 6 weeks, just outside. Took it to the vet, got all the shots and all of that. So
what it reminds me of, Aman? It reminds me of how Mario saved this program, man.
Damn.
Reminds me of how Mario saved this program. I know you got to get off here. I wanted to tease one thing.
Tease it
for a future show. Kind of maybe to gaslight you a little bit, where you can't really respond right now, fully. But imagine when we start recruiting at a high level. We are overachieving right now. Miami has the 15th most talent in the country right now. Imagine when we start recruiting at a high level, man. Unbelievable what Mario and staff is doing right now.
Hey,
Unbelievable. I can't wait to get into this at another time with you, D.
hey, that's crazy. But to be honest, to be fair, we have missed on, like I said, that those like Jeremiah Smith, those like top guys. Oh, what Mason R. Thomas was a guy. I think we didn't.
When was the last time a team outside of the top 5 in this sort of ranking won the championship? I couldn't think of it. I mean, I don't have every list, but like you have to imagine the teams that have won it have been in the top 5 in this list.
Joe Burrow, LSU, were they top 5? Like I know overall, like when you look back at it, but
that's probably a good call. Like, that's probably a good call.
Yeah, he probably was.
And the talent composite, by the way, is the high school rankings plus Porter rankings of players still on your team, right? So you know the class. Then if you've lost high rated guys from that class, it does not count for. This is like what's currently on the roster. So again. Just imagine when they start recruiting at a high level, man. It needs to get better.
Hey, wait, they're saying Michigan, but didn't Michigan get caught cheating? So does that really count?
Good point.
I'm just saying.
I wish we got caught cheating. I wish we did the same thing, man.
Hey, with you, you're right, Pete. whatever it takes.
Who had the best arm of the receivers when you were there? Like, I'm sure you guys were throwing around. Who had the best arm?
It was definitely me. I'm not gonna lie. I honestly, I promise you, all jokes aside, I really could have played quarterback in Little League. Only difference is that in Little League, there's no receivers out there. So it was just hut and you take off running. And that was like boring. You feel me? So, but I never really cared to play quarterback. But when we did because I think 3 of the receivers were like practicing, making like the little throw or whatever. They gave it to Braxton because, Braxton obviously Mr. Reliable, right? He going to make the right play. He not going to do nothing crazy. I might just, throw it to the other guy by accident, So I respect it. But when it comes to like, I can actually like gun it like deep. Like I got a pretty good arm. I can throw that thing like 60 yards.
You're like Brett Favre out there. You're just trying to fit it in.
For sure. 100%. But, but we never got to see it, man. It's okay though. Shout out to Braxton for making that dot.
So I got to run here. I got a school orientation. Aman is going to stay on with Pete and with Honey. But real quick before I get out of here, I got to talk about every single website is down across the world with this Cloudflare outage. Twitter's down, CanesInSight's down, everything's down. It'll be up soon. But the one website that's still up, your boy Orchid Man, ORCHID Man, landscape artisans, Palm Beach all the way down to the Florida Keys. Dial 786-271-0332. They make landscape maintenance easy. Tree stump grinding, fertilization, irrigation, all the Asians, you name it, they got it. They take care of you. They are the quarterback of your operation. They're the Malachi Toney with the ball in his hands when it comes to landscape and making sure that everything is the way it needs to be. So shout out to Orchid Man, ORCHID Man, Florida.com. All right, fellas, be good. Have a good show.
All righty.
Go Canes.
All right, Aman.
Yes, sir.
Nice performance last weekend, man. Probably the most complete of the season, right? And I think obviously you hope to have a couple more of those here moving forward against Virginia Tech and against Pitt. But really, what are your overriding thoughts on what we saw the other day?
Man, to be honest, I thought it was like great performance. It was probably the most complete game we've played all season. Like as far as like start, finish, like starting fast, finishing strong. I mean, the fact that they didn't cross the 50 until like the fourth quarter with the backups is like actually insane, right? Considering the hype coming in, right? They're a high-powered team, one of the best passing teams in the ACC. Actually they're like, the running game, they got some guys, right? They had coming off a pretty big win against, Georgia Tech, that whole 9. And then, just to watch like the domination, like it reminded me of, it looked like that Notre Dame game for us, like the way we like physically, like we came out there just imposing our will on both sides, except when it got to 21-7 Notre Dame, we took our foot off the gas. In this metric, it was 24-0. And we're still trying to get more points, right? And that's what I think everyone has been like screaming for the last few weeks. Like, let's not play conservative. Like, go out there, play to win the game. Let's not play to not lose, right? Because that's how you end up losing. So it was just good to see. I know Dawson alluded to, not coming up with new plays and stuff. And I'm going to agree that he actually is correct. And why I say that is that a lot of plays like that you run through in the season, like you're not really installing a whole new playbook or a bunch of plays like midway to halfway to the end of the season. What I think we're doing is that we're actually, for one, we're using better personnel packages for those plays we were running in the beginning. And you see guys like Pringle who are hitting the runs where they're supposed to go. Because, Dawson, obviously, we call a play like outside zone and, running back decides to cut it up because he don't trust it. You can't, like, that's one of those things where you can't really fault the play caller. Is just, running backs, you got to have a better feel for the game. And I think Pringle is a guy that's electric. He's quick, elusive, and he's able to, having the speed to get around the edge, right? He trusts his speed. He's not second guessing, stopping, and just running into the crowd of people. He's following his blocks, trusting the play call. And also another thing I would like to mention, Pringle is very small. When you think about an offensive lineman being like 6'5", 6'6", it's hard to see him when he's navigating through the little holes, right? As a linebacker, like, how do you see him when you got Mark?
He disappears. He disappears. That's what I've been saying about him. Yeah, right. He's hiding behind these 6'6", 6'8" offensive linemen, and then boom, he shoots out of the cannon and 5-7 yards out of nowhere.
Exactly. So that's the difference I see right there. Obviously, we got the wrinkles as far as like the trick plays, which I think every team in America has them. We see double, triple screens sometimes. I think I saw it against I think it was A&M or one of these games I was watching. I saw like a triple. I think it was Texas. They ran like one of these teams ran like a triple screen, right, down a distance, like, and that's just what it is, man. At this point in football, like timeline, end of the season, like everyone knows your identity. They know what your bread and butter plays are, right? So you got to be a little bit more creative because that 1 or 2 touchdowns that we got off those like trick plays or whatever, like that was a momentum that kept us going. That's what got us, 17-0, coming off an interception. Like that's just what it is at this point. Yeah. And, it was good to see the change and just like the style. I felt like we did call the plays, like, I wouldn't say careless, but more so like carefree. Like we weren't worried about, man, like we weren't tight. That's kind of how I see. We weren't tight. Like it was just like, dude, whatever happens, happens. You know what I'm saying? We beat these people by 60. We beat them by 60. We beat them by 24 points calling these plays and just trusting it, whatever, and I think it played to our benefit. Defense was lights out. Offense they were humming. So.
And Aman, I got to say, like, as much as I mess around about the recruiting, which I do believe it's true, like, I think they need to recruit at a more elite level for them to get where everyone wants this thing to end up going. But I will say, I think the biggest difference with the roster right now compared to when you were playing, because we've gone through before the talent that was on that team, a bunch of NFL talent. But, man, the depth on this team is serious. Like, we're talking about Gerard Pringle. Why did he play? Other than the fact that he's now earned these reps, but Mark Fletcher out. Jordan Lyle has not been himself. OJ Frederick out. Keontae Scott out. CJ Daniels out. And you have the depth now which is a lot of people are saying, hey, why didn't we see these guys before the injuries? And yeah, I guess you could get to some of that too, right? But at the same time, they didn't hit the panic button in terms of just trying to throw everyone out there at once. I think naturally you're starting to see guys emerge throughout this roster. And the depth to me, man, I think has been a very, very impressive part of where this program's at. I think when Mario came in, it was obviously nowhere near what it is now.
Actually, I'm pulling it up now. I just want to double check something really quick. So yeah, pretty much that last class, ranked overall 13th, composite 14th, right? We didn't sign, there's 21 guys essentially. I'm looking at the hit rate. We talking about Bryce Fitzgerald, Josh Moore, Pringle, even
Malachi,
the center,
SJ Alafatu.
SJ, right. SJ, his name on here is crazy. SJ, right? He gets in at that fullback position in the goal line. Hayden Lowe would have been a guy if he obviously didn't have the injury. Kellen Wiley, he's
Dante
on
Simpson
teams. Dante Simpson, Jabari Antoine, he's actually, gets in those, late game reps. Malachi Toney, obviously, he's the star of the whole group. Dalen Upshaw, he's getting his burn now.
Started the game.
So, like, and I don't even get me started on the transfer portal guys. They pretty much hit on damn near all of them, besides maybe a few guys you can argue who got years of eligibility. But my point is that I give them credit that they have a very good hit rate on the guys that we did sign. But to your point, I do think, there's a few guys last class we can all admit that we whiffed on in the last coming days, and we probably like to have in the class right now. But at the end of the day, like, these guys are producing, like, they're giving us valuable snaps. Dante Simpson's a guy I saw a D tackle last game. Like, he looked like he belongs, right? He don't look like a 3-star kid from Chaminade that's just getting, like, local snaps because he's from South Florida or something. Like, no, he actually, was pretty solid in a run game. So I honestly, I'm not mad at it, but I do get your point where, if we crank it up another notch, take it to another level, and maybe that takes getting into those conference games, getting that extra money. I don't know. You can kind of splurge a little bit.
Thang says if we can't get Lyle or JoJo producing, we ain't on it. I mean, look, there's other guys in the same classes who are.
Though?
Yeah, I mean, look, I see other guys in the same classes or younger that are producing.
Yeah, that's the part. Like, and like I said, they those guys have a lot of time, right? Those are sophomores, right? We talking about they got another 2 years to perform or whatever the case may be or produce. But I don't think you look at like 1 or 2 people and say that Mario or the staff hasn't done a good job developing. You know what I'm saying? You can't say that when you look at their same position group and then you have true freshmen who are producing. You know what I'm saying? So I don't look at it from like, guys that we projected to be elite stars coming in. If they're not producing at that level, then, we're not good. Like, no, you got 3-star Malachi Toney coming in. You got Gerard Pringle, which obviously a 4-star running back, but he was a 4th-string running back, 2 weeks ago? Actually, he was with the scout team, they said. He wasn't even running with the actual the team, and so, come on. I think we gotta be a little bit more honest with that. I think they
Mel says JoJo's not getting enough chances.
I think he's in a predicament because someone like Malachi Toney is doing so well, especially in the slot. And we all know Shannon Dawson's offense is ran through the slot. Like, that's like the key guy in his offense. Like, we all knew that. So, we can't really be surprised that a lot of the targets and a lot of the focal point of offense is going through Mally. And that's not no slight at JoJo. I just think that's just how the offense is set, and I think he'll get his opportunities as the season go on, as we saw like SMU game and last game, right? He got in there, got a pretty much a trick play going his way. And
I'll tell you who they told. This is why you can't listen to they. They told us Keelan Marion shouldn't be playing as much. Aman, I'll let you have the floor for that.
Can I get the floor?
Please do, my friend.
I want everyone to just look in my eyes on this camera. I want everyone to just look in my eyes. First off, this is what you call evaluations. See these eyes right here? I know what it looks like, brother. Even in spring, I said, man, Keelan Marion, right? He's a deep threat. Like, he can actually, like, I'm watching him run by people, running post routes, doing go routes, like catching screens. I see him scoring a screen. I'm like, yo, like, why are they saying he's not a receiver? He's a gadget dude. Like, you can't look at the old pass. You get what I'm saying? You can't look at someone's film from a year ago and say that's all they can do. Football is about progression, right? Year after year, guys are training, they're working out, they're going with these new trainers and flying to Atlanta, working out with these footwork gurus and stuff. So people can improve. And that's what I saw. And Lord and behold, let's just call a spade, right? First off, Keelan Marion, if we're going to be honest, is averaging most yards per catch on the team, by the way. Starting receivers. He got his average yards per catch is higher than anyone. Also, he has a career high in yardage already. In his career, he has most yards here. So can we say we developed Keelan Marion? Can we steal that one? How since everyone said, even our own fans said that he was
The
just
development
a bad guy?
narrative is always so wild to me, man, because like I just you can pick and choose and you can say, well, he was here for a year, but like, okay, what was his status before this year?
Yeah.
In terms of the draft, everyone looked at him as a return man. I mean, I'm talking about people from the outside now. He was highly ranked in the portal coming out. That's why I never understood, like, he was what, the number 1, number 2 portal receiver in the spring, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
People were saying, oh, we spent too much money on him. Like, that's the only reason he's playing. But like, you went out and got the best guy available in the rankings, so you can't have it both ways.
Matter of fact.
And I disagree with this, and we've gotten this a lot. Mel said he wasn't doing it in games at first. Go back and watch the Notre Dame game. He had some darn tough catches in that game. Only had like 30 yards, but had like 5 catches that were not easy plays. Do you remember the USF game where he was wide open for what was it, a post? Was it a post, or it was a deep crosser maybe?
I mean, he was
wide open. That was a CJ Daniels one. The pass interference against Notre Dame. Like, I just didn't understand that notion either.
Hold on. I'm trying to see something right now. So Sam Brown, he had 36 catches for 509 yards last year and 2 touchdowns, right? Keelan Marion. See, that's why I like Google, because, you just type something in and the Carfax is just right there. Right now, Keelan Marion, 33 catches, so he's a few catches short, 465 yards, 1 touchdown. We talking about we got 2 games left. So he's going to bypass Sam Brown's production. So when people said that Sam Brown was a better receiver or gave us better production than he did, like, I'm like, yo, first off, he's 100% the third option. Second off, like, the kid is producing as a quote unquote return guy only. I'm like, bro, the kid can catch. Like, I understand the one, he had like 2 drops in Syracuse game or whatever the game was, right? And people, or Stanford, people, oh, he can't, whatever. Like, bro, that happens. Like, right, receiver, you're gonna drop a pass or 2. That's just what comes to it. But what he did do is that if you go back and watch the Notre Dame game, if we're gonna be honest, he was about to have the game-winning touchdown until the cornerback had to tackle him because he was getting ready to outrun him. Bro, so maybe the narrative is different.
I'm sorry, man. EJ, what are you talking about, bro? He said, stop selling us that bozo. Oh, he's talking about Sam Brown.
Oh, okay.
Dude, I was gonna say, this Keelan Marion hate, it must be studied. What, I mean, it's wild to me. It's people wanting, I think, to fit what their opinions were of things beforehand. So they try to shift the narrative in that sense.
Yeah.
And by the way, let's also shout out, and we talked about this yesterday, that Carson Beck, it seems a lot more comfortable within the offense now. Seems a lot more comfortable within the relationship with a lot of these receivers. You're seeing certain guys continue to get more looks. You're seeing certain guys get more reps. You see a guy like Josh Moore getting opportunities down the field. And this is, to me, the natural progression of Beck and feeling comfortable within the offense. The guys around him finally getting that connection with him as well. I think all of this goes into play.
Hey, listen, I agree. You know who my comp was for Keelan Marion?
Talk to me.
And people gonna kill me, right? But coming in, he reminded me of Matthew Golden. But let me explain. I'm talking about body size, the way they run. I'm not saying the route running, right? I'm not gonna go that far because I think that's what separated Matthew Golden. His route running hands were crazy, but they reminded me of the same style of play. Downfield threats, can catch the ball, can get moving, and then I think Matthew Golden has some kick returning ability as well. He returned a few kicks. Well, I don't know about for touchdowns, but when I watched that Texas versus Georgia game a few years ago, I remember him, being pretty electric. So that's when I was watching him at practice, just seeing other receivers. I was like, damn, that looks like Matthew Golden. Like, they got the same style of play, same helmet, damn near same number. They had, everything was the same. So I'm not saying he's that, but what I'm saying is that Keelan Marion has definitely developed into a better receiver in which the whole fan base was not expecting. Unless you want to practice and you've seen it with your own eyes and you're like, okay, that kid can play.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think, and Mel, I don't want to get on you too much. He says, we don't hate Marion. He was a starting receiver on a struggling offense. He wasn't putting up any numbers. I think you just alluded to it, Aman. Like, sometimes the coaches know who's who, and the coaches know what's what because they're seeing it every day. And statistical output, like the result of what the box score is after the game, isn't always the reality of what that player is, because there's a lot of factors that go into it.
Oh, and also,
again, go ahead.
Wait, can I say one more thing?
Yeah, go.
I'm just looking at some facts here. So Matthew Golden and him are the same height and weight to the T. Also, Matthew Golden, I'm looking here, looks like he had in 20 games, in 2 seasons, 20 career games, he had 76 catches for 988 yards. So he averaged the same amount of average yards per catch that Keelan Marion averaged. But he had 13 touchdowns, so I give him that. You get what I'm saying? So I really wait. What 6ix9ine is saying? Like, I do this, bro. I do this. I'm telling you, real Eli, bro.
Vladdy says we have a history of not playing our best players. To me, we missed out on tight end shot with the intermediate routes. Look, I'm a huge Brock shot guy, but Aman, you were at a lot of practice. He probably led the team in drops during fall camp. So I don't know that I'm a believer in him moving forward, but like. Yeah. Again, you've got to understand there's certain reasons why some guys play and some don't. I'm not saying it's a perfect operation, but like things play themselves out over time. And I mean, look, I don't necessarily agree with we have a history of not playing our best players. I mean, certain guys may thrive elsewhere because the situation's different, but I think there's reasons why guys play and don't play, but.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's.
I mean, look, I'm sure you can point to some situations when you were here and say, man, maybe that guy should have played some more. But like now that you're removed from the situation, you probably tell yourself, man, yeah, he probably was more talented, but he didn't necessarily do what he need. Like now that you know what it is, it's not just all about that sort of thing.
It's definitely not like, hey, you did the right route or you caught the pass. Like a lot of times, you got off the field stuff, academic issues, you may have missed class repeatedly. You might have, not checked into dining hall right before the checker saw you. It's a lot of different things, right? Where you can get in trouble or kind of get in the doghouse a little bit, or just get a little bit limited opportunities, from your own, thing. So,
But wanted to bring up this this comment here. Rocco says, "What's with the Golden Style program putting all the weight on players in their second year? Look average, Lofton, Lyle, or is it just injuries?" I mean, look, I think, and I mentioned this the other day, Aman. You tell me if you disagree. I think certain guys, strength and conditioning program or not, their bodies are like Elijah Lofton's never going to be a 230 because, by the way he's built, he's not 6'4", 6'5". Like he's going to carry weight a certain way. He's not going to be 230. Yeah. You've seen him. He's a bowling ball. Sometimes their body types just take them a certain way. I'm not saying strength and conditioning doesn't have something to do with it. Lyle obviously got banged up earlier in the year. I personally don't know that he's fully right, and obviously mentally the confidence doesn't seem to be there with either of these guys as well. But I think Lyle, if you've seen his pops walking around, he's big as hell. So like some of these guys just have the frame that their body's only going to allow them to do certain things.
Yeah, no, I do think like some guys have like that natural body where they're going to be big no matter what. To be honest, I never seen Jordan Lyle's dad, but based on what you're saying, like he does seem like he has like that natural kind of like thick body pause. Or the pausers in here. Lofton always seemed like on the bigger side, like he's always seemed like very like kind of heavier set, big lower body type of guy, almost like a running back or fullback style. But he can catch, he can pass and catch, and I know it's kind of odd because we've seen him at practice and we've seen him like peaking. And then I know he got banged up right before the season. So maybe, you know, he's still nursing some things. He's just not comfortable yet. But I will say, I remember 2017 when I was banged up, like torn hammy, you know, high ankle sprains, like pretty much every injury. I had the injury bug. Um, and a lot of times, like on game day, yeah, you are playing, but the amount of snaps you're missing in practice is actually pretty crazy. You're not really running with the ones like that. You're spending most time rehabbing, trying to get healthy. So you're kind of out of sync a little bit, right? So then on game day, you show up and you still a little bit behind as far as just like timing with the offense, the flow of everything. So, you know, I would say a lot of these guys did get nicked up. Obviously, Jordan Lyle got nicked up first game of the season. And I do think just once that injury happens, it's just very hard to kind of like bounce back and just be 100% yourself after that. For example, I think Mesidor, if you watch that SMU game, he was in that game banged up, and we can be honest, like he didn't play a really good game, you know, that we're normally used to seeing. And that's just because, you know, he was nicked up. He couldn't really get his flow right. And now we started to see last game, him have that same explosiveness back and him doing his thing. So, yeah, Ruben Bain was a guy last year, right? That was nicked up throughout the season. You just didn't see that explosiveness. Now this year, he's arguably the top 10 pick, you know, going into this draft just because he's back healthy. He's in the flow of things. He was practicing all off season. Like all that stuff matters. So I don't think guys are too heavy. I just think football is a sport where you're going to get injured. It's just timing, right? Like sometimes it happens right before, you know, like JoJo, right? It happens right before the season. You get nicked up and you're a tab behind. So it's unfortunate. It's going to happen. Some guys can play through it. Some guys can't. Everyone's body's different. Everybody's bodies responds different as far as timeline. So we'll see, man. I wouldn't say, I don't think they're putting on too much weight. I really just think it's just unfortunate injuries.
Injury timing, yeah.
Yeah, I think the timing.
Yeah, I mean, look, my thing is like if you're out there, then we can't. It's hard for us to use the excuse of injuries because there's other guys who are hurt and not playing.
Yeah.
Juan Manuel says, yes, we do have a history of not playing our best players. Number 15, DN, Greg Rousseau, first rounder, had to wait 6 games behind to start behind Matt Patchen.
You talking about Scott?
Yeah. So yeah, Matt's his brother. Matt Patchen was his brother, 5-star O lineman who went to Florida back in the day. But Juan, I got to tell you, man, love you, but we're gonna need a better example than 2 coaching staffs ago. And a guy who was a freshman who ended up still playing 5-6 games into the season, right? So I don't know. To me, that's not a great example, not even this coaching staff, but
say honey toss and talk about a dog.
So Aman, defensively, I think that was really the story of the game, and that was going into the game. I think I said it with you last week. I had a hard time believing it. And as someone who's played, right, and you've played these games against, like, off the top of my head, I can't remember an example, but I'm sure you know of playing guys who are South Florida guys who probably felt like Miami didn't recruit them. You know that they're going to come in there with some extra juice. But to me, this was not an opportunity. This was not a game where we were going to get caught off guard in that sense. Like, you know, the local guys here were in the locker room, have been, and CJ's like that. We've got to be on point for this game. And the defense just came out ready to go, man. That defensive line, to me, dominated.
Yeah, I mean, what I saw was essentially a team that I feel like we're playing as if like we're actually trying to show the playoff committee why we belong. And like it seemed like we came out with a statement. And I get the CJ Bailey stuff, but to be honest, I don't think it was more so CJ Bailey like was the guy. I think we watching a film to know his weaknesses, and we're very comfortable with exposing them, which I think we did. Just make him think, make him get a little bit confused and hesitate off that first read. And even on film, if you just watch a few games, he can throw some crazy interceptions, to be honest. And I think that was a game plan. Like, we're going to keep him in the pocket. Don't let him scramble around. And we're going to make his feet get uncomfortable. And I think that's what we saw. And he was just forcing passes. And I think we capitalized.
We got him out of their game, too. We got him out of that game plan early.
We capitalized off us. Like, I feel like they're trying to make it like his homecoming thing. And I know he came out. He was amped up. If you saw him coming out the tunnel, right, NC State tunnel, he was jumping around on the sideline, like trying to get everyone piped up, but I just think we came out with that same energy. Like, okay, like we ready. Like, it's not even about you. Like, we just gonna dominate you, the entire game. And I mean, what seals that for me was Jacoby Thomas catching an interception and quite literally looking at him and telling him, come here, and ran him over. Like, that was what I was like, yeah, they're sending a message like, it's beyond you, buddy. Like, we're trying to prove something to everyone, not just you and your homecoming little thing you got going on. So I enjoyed it. I know the kid came in, South Florida kid, wish him the best, but I just think we had a lot to prove. And when we talk about the committee and how they view things, if you think back to last year, one of the reasons they gave Ohio State like a pass for losing to like Michigan State or Michigan at the end of the year and stuff like that, they're like, oh, they have an elite defense. And I think if we're going to be honest, like, we do have a top 10 defense. You can argue top 5 in football. So when the committee's talking about our offense and they don't look the same and whatever, well, let's talk about what we are doing very great. That defense has been lights out, bro. Like, in college football, it is hard for a team to not cross the 50. They didn't cross the 50 till the fourth quarter, bro. That's actually insane. I don't care if you're playing Bethune-Cookman. Like,
well, and D has mentioned it too. D has mentioned our off, like, we're talking about defense. I mean, like, I agree with 100%. Offensively, a lot of this is when it comes down to the committee. We talk about the eye test. We talk about recent results. If you can go out there and replicate a performance similar to what you just had this last week and put up 35, 40 plus points again, right? That would be 3 games in a row where you've scored now 38, 41, and then hypothetically another game like this. You had, 2 games, before the SMU game, 42 against Stanford. Obviously, you dropped the SMU game there, but you go out there and have another 40-plus point game here against Virginia Tech that I don't think is out of the equation. Yeah. And you set yourself up to really, I mean, I think the narrative on the offense, Aman, and you tell me if you disagree with this, but I think the narrative on the offense looks completely different if you go out there once again, because remember, not a great first half against Syracuse. They finished it strong there, but great second half, complete game against NC State. If you can put together another complete one, I think people's feelings about the offense change because, as D-Money mentioned, they're scoring more points than people realize. Historically, in the past 20, 25 years of Miami's offense, it's the 3rd highest scoring offense right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. And to your point, if we do continue scoring like 40 a game or averaging 40, 45 a game for 4 games in a row, you cannot ignore that. You can't ignore that. You can't say, oh, this team offensively looks strong. And then when we're improving 4 games in a row, is that not enough consistency for you? And I think it will be. So that's why I think right now, only thing we can control, unfortunately, is just us dominating these next 2 games. And I'm talking about, like, we have to pass the eye test, right? We got to be exciting. Defense has to continue being dominant. And at the end of the day, these SEC teams are losing. But when you really look at it, Texas and us, we have a common opponent. Bama and us, we have a common opponent. So it gets a little tricky. You know what I'm saying? It's going to get a little dicey at the end. But if we continue dominating and doing what we're doing so far, like these last 2 weeks on offense, if we continue showing that on film for the next 2 weeks with the defense playing lights out, I can't see an argument where we can be left out. We talk about resumes and, wins. And let's be honest. Can we be honest? Can we be honest here, Pete?
Always. D-Money's not here, so we're going to be as honest as we want.
Listen, I'm going to be honest. If we talking about the losses, right? Because no one brings up our great wins, right? No one brings it up. It's not the topic. So let's talk about our bad losses. And we're going to talk about bad losses. Let's talk about everyone's bad losses. Texas, right? Florida is literally below 500 team. They're below 500. Bama, FSU, same thing, right? We lost to teams who are above 500. Let's just be honest here. Let's just be honest. We didn't lose to 3-7 Stanford or 2 whatever they are. Like, we didn't lose to that type of team. We lost to a competitive ACC opponent. And let's also be honest. It was on the road at 12 o'clock. Also, we lost to Louisville at home on a Friday game. How many Friday games have SEC teams played? Do they play any Friday night games? Does that not impact a team's performance and guys' health? Maybe that extra day moved up. You don't think
Listen,
that
I'm not saying it doesn't.
adjusting?
I will say though, Aman, I have a hard
That's why I
time.
can't be on the committee, Pete.
But I have a hard time believing this. I was D and I were going back and forth yesterday on our show. If you haven't seen it, I suggest watching the first like 40 minutes or so. He was very confident yesterday that if we went out convincingly, we get in. But my thing is, I'm on your line of thinking. I'm more looking at the BYUs, the Utahs, that Alabama with a horrible loss to Florida State.
Yeah, they're gonna be on the
I have a
outskirts.
hard. Our argument yesterday was because he thinks we're in for sure over Notre Dame if it comes to it, and I have a very tough time believing they put us in over Notre Dame. I think maybe both of us together, but I just think there's so much separation between the two that the committee's shown us what they think of Notre Dame at this time. They just beat a Pitt team badly. That is one of Miami's 2 remaining games on the schedule. So I don't know that game is going to be necessarily the difference maker for them. I think you're going to have to rely on a 3-loss Texas not being in over Miami. Maybe Alabama dropping in the Auburn Bowl potentially. That the crazier things have happened there. BYU, Utah, one of those teams tripping up here. But to get in over Notre Dame is going to be an interesting one for me. I think you need some craziness to happen here.
No, I agree. And there's a lot of football to be played, right? There's still some competitive games remaining, right? And I know that's not what people want to hear. But I guess my point is that when people bring up losses and they come up with these excuses of why Texas lost to Georgia on the road and all this other stuff, and they come up why, like I just bring up every team's why. Like we lost 2 games off teams coming off bye weeks. Like those are facts, right? We talking about a team that had an extra week to sit there and game plan and come up with all type of shit to beat us. I'm just saying, so all that should factor in if you're going to start coming up with good losses and bad losses. You know what I'm saying? Because if we're talking about there's bad wins or bad losses, right? Oh, that's a bad loss, SMU. Okay, so is there such thing as bad wins? Is A&M coming back down 27 points to an inferior South Carolina team? Should that be considered a bad win? Or did they win the game? You know what I'm saying? Like something, I think you lost, you win. But all this, that's a good win or that's a bad loss, and all like, bro, you lost or you won. Let's just keep it like just very streamlined and simple. But we keep creating this new logic of now, Notre Dame has good losses. Like what the bro? I've never heard of a good loss in my entire life until now. What the hell is a good loss, bro? Be a good loss, dude.
Yeah, no, that I agree with that. That's a
goalpost mover.
I guess the thing that's an issue though for us, Ahmmon, is that like Notre Dame is our good win right now. That's our great win. So we kind of like, what are we saying? That like we don't want them in, and that's our good win, but we're also trying to devalue what they've done this year. That's the tricky thing in terms of the resume, right?
I get it, right? We're kind of like leveraging us beating them to kind of continue helping us, so we need them.
I think this comment though is on point. Jake says the CFP committee picks their teams and then creates the logic. That's the only consistent thing. Like when you heard, hey, we're not taking the head-to-head into account until they're 3 spots within each other, and that's where like I'm still trying to figure out how we make up that ground in between. Do we have enough opportunities? Are we gonna just listen? They've got to move up tonight. They've got to move up tonight. If someone in the comments said that they still think that Miami stays at 15 tonight, if that's the case, then things look very dicey. They've got to move up tonight.
I heard some like rumblings that we're gonna move up pretty significant, but I don't want to be the one trying to allude to thing and it don't happen, right? Because I'm not the committee. We're not in those meeting rooms. That's just like what I've seen around is that we should, people are kind of rallying for us to move up quite a bit. So we'll see if it happens, right? I anticipate us moving up maybe to like 13 if I had to guess. Maybe we jump a team. Did Georgia Tech out? No, they played.
Oh, they won. They remember they escaped right? BC. That would have been a big one.
Yeah,
that would have been a big loss.
Sure.
Shout out to Based. He says here that he says basically the same thing that you've been saying. Committee makes it up as they've been going. ND's rewarded for good losses, and Texas, while terrible loss against Florida.
Gio, goddamn. Pete, that is my actual point right there. Florida State to Bama is a bad loss. That's a worse loss than any team we've lost to. That's, I mean, if we're talking about SMU and bro, how bad is Florida State then? How bad is Florida State, bro? They're actually very terrible. Like, they're terrible. That's a bad loss for Bama. But to his point, they're gonna ignore it. We're gonna act like it didn't happen. They're gonna say it was week 1. It's a different team now. Like, okay, why play week 1 games? Like, I don't understand making a schedule of 12 games and for whatever reason, only the last 4 or 5 matter. That makes no type of sense, bro. So, okay, let's just play Bethune every game 1. Let's play, Miami of Ohio game 2, and then let's finish it off with, USF or something, and then go into conference play and just call it a day. Why even play these big games if in the beginning you're just going to use it at the end of the season to say, oh, it didn't matter? But if we lose that game, if we would have lost to Notre Dame game 1, they would be saying right now, you guys didn't beat Notre Dame head. You guys got to win that game. Mind you, they were favored. I'm just saying, it's just like your point. It's always a goalpost move. It's always some new logic. It's eye test randomly. Then it's consistency out of the blue. Then it's always something else. I'm trying to say, other than being perfect. Why do we have to be perfect and every other team has opportunity to lose 2 games or 3 games and still have higher odds of getting in? That makes no sense, bro. It makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think the timing of the losses, Rocco says, wasn't great as the CFB rankings came out right before that. Luckily, I'd rather have those losses happen then than imagine you drop NC State and Pitt. Then you're not getting in, right? If you're like that wouldn't have happened. So I think, yes, the timing was not ideal, but at the same time, you still had 5-6 weeks after that to change their minds, right?
Crazy. I get it, but it's just like, it's so crazy, man, that like it just seems like if we want to do like an SEC and Big Ten, like just put everyone in 2 conferences and just treat it like the NFL and the conference champion of the Big Ten and the conference champion of the SEC play for the Natty. Just call it a day. Why we keep using this logo stuff? That's what it is. Oh, you're in the Big Ten. You can't win. Or no, you're in the Big 12. You can't win it all. You're in the ACC. There's no way. But then USF beats Florida when they were ranked. And it's like, bro, football is played between the lines. On any given Saturday, any team has a possibility of winning. We've seen this time again, like we've seen it. But
this is
one thing they look at is, oh, you're in the SEC. You could be any team in the ACC. Like what?
What? This is the thing that's tough for me to understand. Unless we jump a BYU before the conference championship game, I see it being, because as Cran Ryder says, he says Texas Tech and BYU headed for a clash. That will either knock us out possibly if BYU wins. I think the issue is this: if BYU goes into the conference championship game at 11-1, ranked over Miami, it's the same thing we saw last year with SMU.
Yeah.
SMU lost the game. If it's a close game, we've seen this. They don't penalize teams for losing conference championships. That's what they've shown early on here. If someone can give me an example where they have, but I think that's and Notre Dame, I'm not even looking at that. Everyone's trying to compare. Can we get ahead of Vanderbilt? Can we get ahead of BYU here?
I agree.
Those 2 teams are the ones that are issues for me right now, because if Miami is ahead of BYU before their conference championship game and they lose, then you can't put them in. I don't think you can. Again, I'm not on the committee, but I'm more concerned about that than worrying about Notre Dame right now, which they've told us we're not even going to look at the head-to-head if you guys aren't 3 spots within each other. So what does that mean? We need some stuff to happen between us and Notre Dame right now.
This started with them putting us at 18. Like they dropped us to 18 when Texas, we shouldn't have dropped that far. Like we really shouldn't have dropped that far, bro. But that's kind of what created that big gap. And then the next week we move up 3 spots because they knew, like, damn, okay, that was a little, over the top. You know what I'm saying? And then now we got to climb our way back. And now it's more so like, well, if it works out for them, then we can have a conversation. But if not, then So to your point, I agree. We got to look at who's in front of us, like those next 3 spots. And to the point, I don't think Vandy should be ahead of us either. Shit, there's a few teams. I don't think Utah is that good of a team. I think they got a good defense. Vandy, I don't think they're a good team as well. I know they're rocking off, the whole hype of beating Bama and whatever, and all that stuff. And the quarterback is very confident. I get that, but as a team, top to bottom, like they're not better than us. Only one that
they didn't even beat Bama this year.
Yeah, the only team that got the argument is what BYU, and they played a ranked team and got blitzed. I mean, so we'll see. But to your point, they're not going to leave BYU out if they lose that conference championship game within like 14 points. They're going to do, like you said, SMU, and they're going to get that last little spot or get a spot, and then we're going to be upset. But listen, I just hope and pray that
I think, by the way, I think Miami's a better team than Vandy.
Yeah.
But I think Vandy's a good team. Like John Z says Vandy will get smoked by Tennessee. I don't know, man.
Yeah, Tennessee quarterback situation. It started off pretty good, and I don't know what happened to the kid. I don't know what they got going on, but they just can't finish games. I just feel like that Bama game they had, like they should have won that game. I mean, they had every opportunity to win, and it's just like they can't finish big games. So we'll see if they can get that final upset. I think it's at Tennessee, right? Or no, it's at Vandy, right? No, at Tennessee.
I don't know.
It's at Tennessee.
I don't know.
Yeah, they played at Vandy last year, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah, I'll let me see here. It's at Tennessee.
It's at Tennessee, right? So last game of the season, I believe, and at Rocky Top, I'm sure they're gonna be rocking.
Let me tell you something, man. 3 loss Tennessee's lurking. That's what the committee is gonna say, man. 3 loss Tennessee's lurking.
Oh man,
they've got the primetime ESPN game against Florida this week. So
man, bro, why does EJ keep saying the most obvious stuff, bro? You killing me in the comments, bro. He keeps saying, "Don't lose them, bro." Again, there's only 3 undefeated teams in college football. 3. Why do we keep having to play a perfect football in order to get in the same thing when every other team, all the other teams are losing games to inferior opponents? That's the point you're not understanding. That's what I'm trying to get across. Texas is literally in a conversation, and they lost to a 3-6 Florida team at the time. And it was convincing too. It wasn't no fluke field goal at the end. It wasn't overtime. They lost within the 4 quarters of the game convincingly. That's all I'm saying. Like,
Grand Ryder's been in here propping Utah. He says Utah's been blowing out teams by 40 the last 3 games. I mean, shoot, they beat. That was a good win against Cincinnati that they had. But I mean, who else are we talking about here? A 5-5 Baylor team that, by the way, they beat 55-28. Utah beating since they beat them. That was a good win. Miami could have an opportunity against a ranked opponent, Pitt, here at the end. They beat a sputtering Colorado.
Come on, man.
And they just lost. I mean, they lost a month ago to Utah. So Miami's won the last 2 games by 40 points. If you want to play that game, I mean,
come on, Pete.
Listen, we got our own fans that are brainwashed now too.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why do we do this? Is this like having a kid, and it's like beating this man for just being a kid? Like, bro, we got young dudes, right? We talk about kids that are 18, 19, 20 years old, right? You're expecting them to be perfect week in, week out with NIL when, like I said, there's only 3 undefeated teams in college football right now within the top 25. Only 3. So you're going, like, this is a day and age where you're going to lose 2-3 games, or I should say 1 or 2, going forward. That's just what it is. Except that there's not going to be that many undefeated teams. So I don't think we have to be perfect in order to get what's fair. Just call it fair and stop looking at SEC and Big Ten logos and look at the actual film, buddies. Just watch the tape. That's how I know these people don't watch actual football. The committee, I 100% can guarantee you, they either didn't play the game and they don't really watch film. They don't even know what it looks like. They just go off logo. Oh, that's Texas. Oh, that's Texas. They look really good tonight. Bro, what do you mean?
I mean, by the way, Utah lost by 3 scores to Texas Tech. I mean, good Texas Tech team, but they lost by 3 scores. So, Aman, I know you got to get out of here in a minute. Let me see if there's any other comments I have to bring up here, or any other things you want to hit as we wrap things up.
Yeah, I would say, hey man, shout out to Shannon Dawson. And I know we was getting on him, the whole fan base was getting on him for changing and adapting. I don't know what happened, but look, shout out to him, making the changes. Also, shout out to Coach Heatherman. I know they won the award for like best coaching or whatever for the weekly award or whatever. Shout out to both of them, man. They've been lights out, these last 2 weeks. That's what we wanted to see. I'm excited to just see these next 2 games. And I know we got Virginia Tech 12 o'clock on the road. It's going to be chilly out there, but I just want to see that same focus, right? I just want to see that same intensity, attention to detail, communication. That's what I really seen, especially on defense. And I just want to see it continue, man. We got 2 games left. However this thing goes, whether we get in or get out, whatever the case may be, I like to see a strong finish. At least, go be 3-0. I know we got 2 more games, but whatever that 3rd game is, whatever it is, just go be 3-0, and let's just keep stacking. I think we're progressing forward. To your point, Pete, we haven't won 10 games in a row in forever. So let's just keep stacking. Let's just keep going, keep the momentum. And then let's just hope the committee watch film. Let's just hope they actually watch film and know what it looks like.
Cran Rider says, look at the points Utah puts up, though, every game. Every game except the 10 they put up against Texas Tech and the 21 they put up against BYU.
Come on, man. So when they play ranked teams, Pete, essentially they're not at that high level.
And Cran Rider says Utah's clicking at the right time. I think the argument is that what happens if Miami goes and blows these next 2 games out of the water? Then Miami has won 4 games in a row, blowing teams out. Still a lot for that to happen. But I'm saying, that's where this thing becomes an interesting conversation. Now, that's my issue here is, again, that committee's told us what they think about these teams already. Does a win against Virginia Tech and a win against Pitt take you over the top? We will see. We will see.
Yeah.
Cran Rider says, yeah, lost by 3. And how many did Miami lose by in their 2
Come
games?
on, bro. Like,
Cran Rider, I think we might have a closet Utah fan in here.
You hear them, Pete? You see what I'm saying now, right? It's like
I'm seeing it.
What do you mean win? But they lost by 3. They lost. Like, why do we keep?
Yeah.
Come on, bro. Okay, in the ranked teams we play, we beat. How about that? That? The ranked teams we play, we beat. They're not beating their ranked teams. I get it. They're beating their inferior opponents by 40 points. Great. What happens when they play a team with an actual, number by their name? What happens? I know what happens when we do. It get BTA out there. It's BTA.
Hey, Aman, great stuff as always here on Tuesday morning. Appreciate you joining us. Go Canes, hit that like and subscribe, everybody. I'm gonna stay on here for a couple minutes to do a couple reads, talk, maybe answer more questions. But Aman, appreciate you guys, man.
Always, man. Go Canes. I appreciate you too, Pete.
Go Canes. Everyone, thank you for hopping on with me today. I know if you guys are just hopping on, D was on with us for the first 15-20 minutes or so. Wanted to remind everybody look, we've got a couple big games here still remaining. I know it's not home games, so you'll be, if you guys aren't traveling, probably watching at home, hanging out. Lomelo's Meat Market, fresh Wagyu beef delivered to your door. If you're local, got the storefront 9810 South Dixie Highway. Use that promo code CIS10 for 10% off your order. If you guys aren't here in South Florida, lomelos.com. You get that Wagyu beef. You get the prime beef as well delivered right to your door. Again, promo code CIS10 for 10% off your order. You see the tomahawk right there. This is what the recruits eat. When there's the official visits and Mario has everyone over their house, they're eating the Lomelo's meat. Best in the business. Appreciate the support from Lomelo's as always. If you guys, like I said, if you guys are going to be here in Miami for these games, Duffy's, Tavern, of course, the original Duffy's will be where you guys should go watch it, man. I mean, this is been around for 60 plus years, now accepting credit cards. This is the original. This is the OG Duffy's. So I'm bringing it up here on the Instagram page, 2108 Southwest 57th Avenue. And here we go, bringing it up. Home of the Hurricanes. As we get it right here, now accepting credit card. You see the classic Duffy's Tavern right here. Best place to watch these games coming up here, the final couple games. I will probably be there for one of them as well. Keep you guys updated on that. But appreciate everyone's support today. Thank you guys for hopping on with me. Hit that like, subscribe. Go Canes.